Hey, everybody. It's been a hot minute since I came to you live, and I wanted to take a moment to talk to you a little bit about fear today. So, the question I have is, how big a role does fear play in your life? Do you find that you avoid things out of fear? Of course, we all do, because that's what our brains are hardwired to do, right? Avoid threat. We wouldn't survive without that fear. But are we avoiding things that are actually threatening or dangerous, or are we avoiding things that maybe make us uncomfortable, or because we fear that we will we'll lose a reputation or a certain image, um, and that feels life threatening? Maybe, it's that significant. Do we have certain fears that stem from earlier in our lives, and we're just sort of placing them on things in our present and assuming that those things will be just as scary or threatening as they would have been to us as kids? Um, Fear can be paralyzing, it can be debilitating, and it can show up in any number of ways. And I'm just curious if we can maybe start to have a conversation about not just what role does it play in your life, but how often do you sit and think about and evaluate the kind of fears you have? And maybe we could do that today. Just kind of like take some time, sit down with a journal if you have one, or just sit quietly and think about not only like how often do you feel fear, and it can be in the form of anxiety, worry, or terror, panic. How often you feel fear, but also what is it that you're afraid of? Really kind of taking it a step further and looking at the actual thing that you're afraid of. And are you avoiding that thing? Are you minimizing it and avoiding it, or minimizing and ignoring your own distress? Does it feel like a legitimate fear or threat? Does it feel like it could be related to past fears? And you're, maybe making an assumption that the current situation is just as threatening as something would have been in the past. Just sort of sitting with it and thinking about what role does that play? How great of an impact is it having on your life? And is it holding you back? I can just share a little bit about myself. I've had anxiety as long as I can remember, although I don't know that I knew to call it anxiety probably until I was in my 20s, because it was just ever present. It wasn't something that I thought was like, I don't know, that had newly arrived and I had this new affliction that I had to figure out what it was. It was just part of my life that I lived with. And I still have a lot of anxiety. Now, granted, medication definitely helps it not be so intense. But part of what I've learned about anxiety is that we need that ability to tolerate some of it, so that we're not paralyzed by it. And it's not about making that anxiety or that fear go away, because like I said before, it's going to be an inevitable part of our lives. It's about figuring out how to live with it, how to tolerate it, how to determine when we need to, legitimately pay attention to it because something is threatening, and when we need to maybe move through it, to feel it, acknowledge it, and move through it. So for myself, once I was able to kind of get a little bit more of an understanding of the role it was playing in my life, then I was able to start to develop some of those skills that I needed to tolerate it, to recognize when I was avoiding something that wasn't actually threatening. It was just really uncomfortable, or felt threatening when it wasn't actually as threatening as I was making it out to be. Determining when I'm doing that and then doing it anyway. And I think this is a lifelong process for those of us who have a lot of anxiety, um, we continue to evaluate those things and recognize, well, is this something that's worth avoiding to me? Is it really worth the, I guess the missed opportunity or the missed possibility to just listen to that anxiety and say, I'm not going to do that thing. It's too scary. I'm not gonna go try that. It's too daunting. I don't want to make the mistakes. I don't want to look stupid. I don't want to fall on my face. That's too scary. Is it worth avoiding? Or could it be worth figuring out how to manage that anxiety, understand the role fear plays, and then start looking at what your life might be like if you're able to move through that fear, take some risks, try some things, let yourself make mistakes, let yourself fail, recognize it's not going to kill you, and grow from that. What might life feel like then? So just some food for thought today, thinking about this and wanting to share kind of my own take on it. And I'd love to hear from you if you have had different experiences, if you've had similar experiences. But your homework, because I'm going to give you some homework this week, is to really take the time to think a little bit more about the role fear has played in your life and how it shows up. And how do you know when you're feeling anxious or afraid? What are those physical signs, or what are those emotional indicators that tell you, oh yeah, I'm anxious or I'm scared? So yeah, take some time to do that this week. Let us know in the group what you've been able to do, if you did take some time, or if you discovered something, or if you made some connections, or if you just want to share some of your own personal experiences. And also, if you have had some success in developing some tolerance or in pushing through fear and overcoming certain anxieties, if you want to share that as well. So anyway, I look forward to hearing from some of you, and hope that this week is going okay. I was out last week in large part because I had a laptop failure, but I had to buy a new one. But also I think partly due to some fear of, I don't know, just not feeling as comfortable using my phone to record, or feeling like I had to show up in a certain way. And so I did some reflecting on that. And this week I just want to be. I'm going to be here. I don't have any makeup today. Left the house without it. My hair's a little bit but this is me. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. The more we hear from each other, the more we can be supportive of one another. So look forward to hearing from y'all, and I hope you have a good week. Bye.